Okay, for example 2, it tells us to sketch a graph of 2x squared plus 8x plus 7. It doesn't quite look like the form it did before, so we need to change this to look like a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. This is the form we're used to when we sketch our graphs, and it looks like this. So the question is, how can I change this to look like this? And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do what we call complete the square. And the first step is to put the terms with the x's together in parentheses, and then put the plus 7 on the outside. Okay. I do notice that these two, the x's, have a common factor of 2, so I take out that common factor of 2. Okay. And my job is, I need some number c. So I'm going to add to inside parentheses, so I'm going to subtract out here so I can keep the equation balanced. And there's a formula for c. This method is called complete the square, which you learned in algebra 2, and it goes c equals b divided by 2 quantity squared. Well, if you recall from algebra 1, a is 1, b is 4, then c is number here by itself. We're looking for this number, so b is 4, so c is going to be 4 divided by 2. Then we're going to square that. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and square it, and so the number we're looking for is 4. Okay, so this becomes 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 7. This one right here, this is where it's kind of tricky a little bit. Listen to the logic. Since I added 4, but I have a 2 on the outside of parentheses, the net value is plus 8. And so since the c has a net value of plus 8, 2 times 4 is 8, I'm going to have to subtract 8 outside of the parentheses like that. And now this is going to become 2 stays put. I'm going to factor that in this step right now. And so x plus 4 quantity squared, x squared plus 4x plus 4 becomes x plus 2 quantity squared. Then 7 minus 8 is -1. And now I have the equation f of x equals 2 times x plus 2 quantity squared minus 1. Okay? To sketch the graph, we know the vertex now shifts 2 left, so it's at -2, down 1 to -1. Since this is a positive 2, it does a stretch, or makes this graph skinnier, and so it's going to be a little skinnier than the normal graph, and it looks like that as our sketch. Okay, we know this as this 2, we know that as a vertical stretch. Vertical stretch just means to make the graph a little bit skinnier, okay? These can be a little challenging, so what I want you to try now is in your book for this section 2.1, which is around page 95 or so. I want you to do number 23. You're going to need to press pause for a second and then come back to see if you got number 23 right, okay? Well, you should have already pressed pause, and so now we're going to work out number 23 here. 23 says h of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 16. 23 is probably part of your assignment, so it's okay to go ahead and do it now. Notice in this situation, this one is kind of a little different from the example I gave you because the square is already completed. Well, let's do it the way we showed in the example. So it's going to be x squared minus 8x, and then plus 16. Actually make that look like a 16 for you. Since there is no number in front of x squared, I don't factor anything, so just going to do plus c, then c equals b divided by 2 quantity squared, and that should be minus c. B divided by 2, so c equals -8 divided by 2 squared. Remember, I'm squaring a negative, so it makes it positive 16. So I'm going to have x squared minus 8x plus 16. There is nothing on the outside, so I don't multiply it by anything. Plus 16 minus 16. Notice those cancel out, and I'm really left with exactly the problem I started with. So what hopefully you recognize without doing this is that this is a perfect square trinomial, and you get x minus 4 quantity squared. Well, how do I know it's minus 4? Look in the parentheses right there, and that'll tell you what's going to be in the parentheses over here. So, to sketch this graph, remember opposite for x, so I'm just going to add 4. Y stay the same, and the parent function just moves 4 to the right, and I get that graph right there. Okay? Why don't we try one more, just for fun? I'm going to go ahead and erase. Why don't you guys go ahead and do number 28? Number 28. A little more challenging, but I think you can figure it out. F of x equals negative x squared minus 4x plus 1. If you're still a little bit confused, that's okay. We'll work on this one together. Okay, so the first step here is to set these aside. Negative in parentheses x squared. If I factor out negative, it makes this a positive 4x. Since I'm only factoring out the negative from the first two, plus 1 goes to the side. Now you got to complete the square. So remember, we're going to go with a plus c and a minus c. And c is equal to b, which is 4, divided by 2, quantity squared. So that's going to be 2 squared, or 4. And so I'll come back with negative parentheses x squared plus 4x plus 4 and plus 1. Notice again, this is a positive 4. And since it's a negative on the outside, it's really negative 4. So I need to subtract negative 4 now. Because of plus c minus c. The minus sign comes from that. The c, total net effect of c was negative 4, so subtracting negative 4. And so this final word, I'll raise this up a little bit for you, is going to give me f of x equals negative parenthesis x plus 2 quantity squared. Again, 2, and that number right there is inside the parentheses. 1 minus negative 4 is plus 5. And to sketch my graph, 2 left, 5 up. 2 left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. The negative sign flips it upside down. And it looks like that.